Welcome to another exciting episode of Rebuilding Our Nation. Rebuilding Our Nation is a program that explores and lucubrates on several issues that affect our society and the way out of such issues. And of course, this morning we are here as usual to give you information, to give you education, and of course probably to entertain you. This morning we'll be exploring another topic, another interesting and trending topic: security challenges in Nigeria. And today we are not here in the studio alone. As you can see, we already have in the studio a honorable individual. Now, honorable by every standard. Of course, we have, every human being is honorable, and of course, he is honorable and he's legally honorable in Nigeria. We have honorable, you're welcome to the show this morning.
That's a hype. my name is Fulu Adelori, aka Banusa. Welcome.
Really appreciate you being here.
My pleasure.
Yes, sir. Like I mentioned from my introduction, we are going to be exploring security challenge in Nigeria. We'll talk about the different angles to the security challenge and all of that. But first of all, I'd like to throw a little light. It is, of course, not news that we have several security challenges in Nigeria. Security in every phase, talk about from government, from homes, from individuals. I mean, even in our religious organizations, we are scared. Some people can't even sleep with their two eyes open. You have one eye and then you're watching. You don't know what happens next. Now, what is the cause for this? How do we get out of this? Is this how we continue to live? I mean, what are the plans? I mean, to make sure that we can sleep with our two eyes closed and rest peacefully. We need our streets. We need our streets to be secure. We need, the society generally to live in serenity, to be fully. And it's a daunting task, I know. But how do we approach it? How do we go about it? My honorable Morofolu, first of all, as a matter of definition, how would you define a secure state?
Well, a secure state is a state where the activities of criminals, or where crime is at the lowest level, where there is no burglary, there is no snatching of bags, there is no killing, there is no robbery, there is no kidnapping, also that could disturb or infringe on the rights of other people, where such things are not going on at all. That is where you can call a secure state. In Nigeria now, we're having a very terrible security challenge. And the reason is not far-fetched. If you look around, you can see that we're in a recession, economic recession. And idle man is the devil's workshop. Many people are jobless. The unemployment rate has risen to about 40%. We have a population that has about 65 million as youths that are jobless, youths that are unemployed, youths that are not properly trained, youths that does not have proper education. Because smart nations have smart citizens, citizens that are well educated. And everything stems from there, because the problem that is confronting us as a nation, we have, if you look at the standard of living of everyone in Nigeria, we can liken it to a dollar, just a single dollar per day. That is relatively about 500 naira. Now, you're talking about somebody that has a family, that has a quit notice, that doesn't have a job, that happens to be a civil servant, and salaries are not being paid for months. In some states, 11 months. In your state, ranges from 3 months to 11 months from arrears. Local government, employees are not being paid for several months. In some states, 50 months. How do you, and the husband and wife will be civil servants, and they have kids that are going to school, and schools are not free. Now, desperation will set in. Survival instinct will set in. And when a human being is struggling to survive, you want to hold on to a straw. If you are getting drowned, you understand? If you say, maybe if you have a straw to hold on to, you'll be able to wash ashore. So, by the time desperation sets in, crime comes in. Crime will naturally just creep in like that, because the existential needs are not being met by government. From the first statement of our constitution, you understand, and you go further, chapters 2, schedule 2 talks about it shall be the responsibility of the government to take care to look after the welfare and the security of its entire citizens. That is out of place in Nigeria, because the existential needs are not in place. What do I mean by existential needs? What to eat, where to sleep, what to wear. In some other salient crime, you don't worry about that. Even if you have 5, 6 kids in United States, in United Kingdom, in all these salient crimes, your kids will go to primary school free. They will go to secondary school free. It is only university that you'll be required to pay, and they have loan facilities that you can get for your kids to go to school, and by the time they graduate, they will be paying back themselves.
All right, Honorable, yeah, I like that. But with what you said so far, deduced that what your requirement is that insecurity started that it's the government that started the problem of insecurity in Nigeria. So please, can you please expatiate this to the more?
Well, if you say everything is interwoven, it is solely the responsibility of the government, because it's a constituted authority, to provide. What do we call a government? It's people that have shown that they can lead other people, that they can chart a course, that they know the way, they are holding the torch, and creating an enabling environment for the weak in society to have a life that is meaningful. So it's a whole lot more task for government, because they are constituted authority, they are pathfinders, they are torch bearers. You understand? They partake in schools, they partake in economy, they affect all areas of our lives. And the only thing that is left for you is just to make a choice. You understand? And once that is not there, everybody is just on his own or our own. It's a rat race in Nigeria. Basic things are not in place. Basic things that will affect people's lives to live a very positive life are not in place. And that is the work of the government. Even if you want to farm, by the time you farm and there is no road to take your farm produce to where you will sell it, problem sets in. You can't build a road by yourself. An individual doesn't build road. An individual doesn't build hospitals. An individual doesn't build schools. All these private schools that you see around, they are not affordable. And that is why, because it is the primary responsibility of the constituted authority government to educate, because relatively on the long run, they are going to have followers that will be easy to govern. If you are not educated, you are in darkness. Your whole body is not being illuminated. It's only when you have education that you'll be able to have all your skills, the skills on your eyes fall off, and you'll be able to know where to go. You'll be able to differentiate from right to left. So a whole lot of work is at the doorstep of a constituted authority called government.
Wow, that's very, very, very educative, sir. But I'm also thinking, since it is the responsibility of government to cater for the needs, isn't it from available resources, the little we can, and then we do this, we do that? Isn't the government short of funds? That's an excuse.
Well, in Nigeria is a peculiar country. Nigeria is a peculiar country because it happens to be the largest black nation on earth. And we have been blessed. We are blessed with natural resources. We are blessed with so many things that we can turn around to make fortune. And even in Norway, they have no natural resources, not even a single one. And Norway happens to be among the wealthiest nations on earth. Israel cannot boast of good water, and Jordan cannot boast of good water. And look at when we were regional system, we were operating regional system of government. Our leaders used cocoa to build all these structures you can see around. Now, look back and think about what happened, the development that was achieved by our leaders in the 50s to early 60s by cocoa. What other structures can you point out to that is of monumental importance now? You point out to UCH. Is another UCH around?
No.
Point out to Liberty Stadium. Is another Liberty Stadium around?
Yes.
Point out to Cocoa House. Is another Cocoa House around? Now, when we look back with nostalgia and feel so good about our past more than our present, we are sick as a nation.
Yes.
We are sick as a nation, because if you add up all the resources that has gone into the hands of people that have found their way through the back door to the leadership position of Nigeria, you will see that we have leaders that are kleptomaniac. They are kleptomaniac because they have not done anything to provide and produce for a raining day. South Africa, South Korea to be precise, took independence on the same day with Ghana, and our per capita income when we got independence in 1960 was ahead of South Korea. Today, because from 1990 South Korea was spending 65% of its budget on education, they are now the 5th largest economy in Asia, the 10th largest economy in the world. Where are we today? Cocoa bean was given to Ivory Coast in early 60s. Now, Ivory Coast is the largest producer of cocoa today. Malaysia came and picked palm kernel in early 60s from Nigeria. The 80% exports of Malaysia is from oil palm. They are even trying to make diesel, AGO, from palm oil. What have we been able to do with palm oil, palm trees since that time up till now?
Wow.
So you can see the reason why I put so much load at the doorstep, you understand, of those who are the hands of their affairs. Because about 30 years ago, China was a third world country. Today, just 30 years. And because of the emergence of Chairman Mao, he just took 10,000 Chinese and sent them abroad to learn various trades, various, science, various everything. And by the time that 10,000 came back into China, evidence is everywhere. China is everywhere all over the world. It's about the 5th or 3rd largest economy in the world.
Honorable, Honorable, now that we have found ourselves in this situation where the kidnapping is on the rampage and ritualists, and Nigeria is really insecure now. So how do you think we can find a way out of this?
Well, thank you. Everything still boils down to government, about the priority of government. I think this is high time. In the 2017 budget, I think about 10% of the budget is being set aside for education. That is rather too small. I just told you before we went on break that South Korea is spending 65% of its budget on education from 1990. And you can see the results in their economy. You grow people. The GDP is being measured by Human Development Index. If you continue to build roads, you continue to build infrastructures, and you don't build human resource, because it's the people that will use roads, it's the people that will use all these structures that you are putting in place, and you are not educating them properly. You understand, most of the people, of the graduates that are around, By the time you ask them, where are you from? Which school did you go to? They will tell you, I'm an alumni of University of Ibadan. You understand? They don't even know the difference whether alumni is a plural of alumnus. And they tell you they have second class upper. That's the kind of graduates we have around. Graduates that are not unnamed, that are unemployable. Because if you have 2-1 from school and you have first class, you have to be assertive. Because you are still going to sit across the table and get interviewed. And by the time you can't drive your home, your point home, then the certificate you are holding is useless. Yes. So from there, by putting things in place, educate our youth properly, equip them so that they can face these challenges ahead of them. If you have money, if you have a child and you have money to buy Bentley for him, and you buy Bentley and put Bentley down, say when he grows up to be 25, I will give him this Bentley. Now you won't be able to quantify the amount of fuel, you understand, he will be using when he's 25. Maybe the fuel will have been, up to 200 per liter by then. Then he needs wisdom to do his own work, to generate money, so that he will be able to fuel the car when you are no longer around, so that Bentley will not be useless. So we need wisdom. All this, equipping, our youth, making sure we give them education and direction, and the rest will be left in their hands. So the desperation to survive will be reduced because the existential needs will have been met. They have to take care of our social security. You understand? There is unemployment benefit in United States, in United Kingdom. We have all these council flats for people that are jobless. That is very affordable, and they will get job for you. They don't want you to be destitute. We want government that will look after us, take care of us, educate us properly, and spend the money they are making, not keeping money in septic tank and sewage tank. You understand? That is the kind of people we have around. By the time all these things are put in place, we have Nigerians, we Nigerians, we are very hardworking. You have to go outside of this country to see how Nigerians work. We are very hardworking, we are very diligent, and we are very straightforward. And if you are now talking about security, we are even under police. Police are underfunded. We have about 700,000 police people that are guarding us in Nigeria, and we are 180 million. Take 700,000 policemen, the governors that are calling themselves chief security officer, they cannot even control the CP. They can't order police. The CP takes directives directly from IG. So we have been wired in such a way that you have to be together. You understand? If you Google it and look at the parable of plucked chicken, you will see that the mentality of those who are at the ends of their fear encourages crime. Because you see your neighbor next door riding cars, you see their kids going, all because their father happens to be a local government chairman, and 2 years before that time he had no car. But now that he's chairman local government, he is having 2, 4, 5, 3 cars. And the kids that you are together in school with are riding cars, and your father cannot even feed you 3 square meals. You take to crime. And we are not trying to justify crime here. You understand? Yes, they say charity begins at home. But even fathers, they don't even have time, because they are moving all around to pay landlords, because they already have quit notice on their head. And they won't go and sleep under the bridge. Where did you want them to go? So we have irresponsible people as our leaders, at the ends of the leaders that does not care about the lead. And by the time there is an reorientation and change, look at Evans, a billionaire kidnapper, dropouts. Let's say the guy scaled through school, enter university, have good education, you understand, get employment in Globe or anywhere, or MTN, or all these multinational companies and all that. Maybe there won't be need or urge for him to take to crime. You understand? There are criminals all over the world that are being rehabilitated. You understand? It's like giving you a list of life. That's the work and responsibility of government, to provide the templates upon which it will be easier for everybody. Either you're a son of a rich man or a poor man, you must be able to find your feet and be able to feed yourself. Standard of living is at the lower hell. When you are 38 and you are a lady, you can't even marry. You can't even get somebody to marry you because the person you are looking at doesn't even have money to pay rent. How do you want him to have a wife? So we have marriageable, you understand, that are of marriage age, plenty in churches, praying, waiting for Holy Ghost to show them their husband. Meanwhile, you understand, there is no food, there is no money in their pocket. So what do you do to that? So all these things together, governments must sit down and look at it as if this is a very critical situation, because dogs in the house, 50 policemen will not be able to cope it if it should get out of hands. This is just a child's play. We are sitting on a keg of gunpowder in Nigeria.
And we might explode at any point in time. Wow, that's a serious one, Honorable. So the onus is actually on our leadership.
Oh, exactly.
To create a pathway.
Yeah, because it's their responsibility. They campaign for us. They said they have the wherewithal, they have the knowledge we don't have. They know the way. They want to chart a course. They promise good life for us. They promise good education for us. But they are getting their kids outside of Nigeria, getting them educated, coming back and being our leaders. And they are even tipping them to go to House of Rep. So there is no future for you and I or people on the street to even become anything in life. So it's become a rat race. That is why I'm being very critical about the leadership of any society. It's like a family. You understand? The responsibility of how you want your family to be rests on you. Because you have kids that are at formative years that cannot decide which school to go for themselves. No, think about the nucleus aspect of it. Let's take a family of 4. You know, people that are listening might be saying, yes, what about us? We have work to do. Oh, which work? There is not even any work to do. There is no work to do. Yeah, there is no work to do. Say work is in our hands. No work to do. Your wife is pregnant. The route that leads to your place is not even motorable. You don't even get Okada. You have to relocate your wife 2 months or a month before the delivery date, so that she doesn't have stillbirth. Because before are you going to put her on your head? So you tell her to go and stay in her parents' place, closer to town. And you have labored so hard to build a house in Amuloko. And the road that leads to your place in Amuloko is not even motorable. Bike cannot even come there. What kind of life is that?
Well, being confronted with all of these enormous challenges, what is the way out? How do we begin to, nip these problems in the bud?
That is where we also have a role to play. The role we have to play is to make sure that we develop thick skin and be elastic about the way we are facing this issue of hunger and not this existential need. That when we have opportunity to go to polls again, we must be meticulous. Don't let them bribe you with 2 Congos of rice or 5,000 or even 10,000. If they give you 10,000, take it and spend it. And think about who you know that will be able. And those of us that speak to people like this, we must not sit back. There is no sidelines. At this critical stage, we should mobilize people, enlighten people. There are many radio stations all over the place. We should keep talking, enlightening people, encouraging them to do the right thing, to vote right, so that when 2019 comes, we will put people that have our desire, our love at heart, and from there, we will be feeling the changes. We must be interested in who becomes the chairman of our local government. We must be interested in who becomes, don't say Kokomi, because what they will do is coming to affect you. If they say sit at home tomorrow in Oyo State, they no bond you, say make you go. Police go arrest you and you pay fine. So don't say Kokomi, I'm a Christian, so you do Kokomi. That is why all the religious leaders are preaching that we are many. We have to take part in this thing. Let it concern you. Don't say Kokomi because
All right, Honorable, that's a very good one. But you know, when it comes to putting people on the state and political state, it used to be a party thing. How do you think we can really sensitize the people and people in the constituencies to really understand, even if that I belong to a particular party, and I feel that this person that is being nominated is not going to perform well, then I can go and vote for another person in another party. So how do you think we can really sensitize the people so that there won't be any kind of a selfish interest involved, so we will have a very good person on the seat?
Yes, everything depends on us. Because even within the political party, you have people, they are not ghosts. And there are not so many as to the voters. Yes, they are relatively small. Let us say they have special interest that does not conform with the interest of the generality of people. Then we will forget party and look at the individual. If we know individual that is not even in a popular party, by the time we sensitize people enough in town, that is not about party, it's about people, it's about character. You will see people winning in a party that is not popular than somebody that we don't want that is in a popular party as we go on. And some of us are already campaigning for a political reform because it costs a fortune to even get a form. Even if you are interested, even if you have the character and the ability to do it, you still need to fall back on some people. You understand? That you will hold your allegiance to, because they are going to provide money for you to get form. Where do you get form to even do it, to put in your intention that you want to even go to ordinary House of Assembly? It costs fortune, sometimes 1 million, sometimes 2 million, to get an intention form of a party. And that is why some of us are campaigning for independent candidacy in Nigeria. That yes, if you can mobilize people, if you can rally around people, yeah, throw yourself up and let's see how far you go. But that is not so true yet because they are afraid. Because they are afraid of themselves.
There is a political umpire.
Exactly.
Wow. Wow. A little deviation from where we are coming from, but still in line with.
It's all encompassed.
Yes. Now, I realize that most of our leaders today, they talk about there is too much power at the central, there is this, and then we are campaigning or agitating for state policing and all of that. Now, how does state policing, probably breaking the power at the central and restructuring, affect our security?
Oh Lord, I'm an advocate of state police. Yes, because I've been out of this country many times. And you don't police an area you don't know. Yes, you can't bring somebody from Katsina, all in the name of federal character, to come and be policing people of Yemen when you have not even stayed here before, when you have not even, you understand, you've not gone to school here before, you don't even know anything around here. So it is difficult to police an environment you don't know. People are getting killed somewhere in Korodu on daily basis. Just a couple and their kids, a whole family were wiped out 2 days ago. Husband and wife killed with their 2 children in cold blood, and nothing was taken away. They said they belong to a cult group. You understand? That cannot happen in another salient crime because most of the police people around that place, maybe most of them are from Delta, Edo, and they don't, and even the governor in that state cannot order police around. When you talk to CP, if it concerns security, he talks directly to IGP. And if IGP says don't go, that's the end of it. So if you see a governor calling himself a chief security officer, it's just on paper. You understand? So we need state police. People, of course, people are skeptical about it because of the crop of leaders we are around, that they will use that police to perpetuate themselves. Yes. You understand? Yes, but there is a parable that my father used to tell me. If you have an oranges, you understand, that is ripe for harvest, say don't sort it because they are in different shapes and sizes. They say just bring the lorry and tell them to harvest it. Don't bother yourself to sort it. Put them, everything together, all sizes, at the back of the lorry and travel through a rough road. By the time you get to your destination, the bigger ones will have found their way down, and the smaller one will have adjusted themselves without anybody adjusting them. So nature has a way of purging itself, of rearranging itself. I can bet you, by the time we have it, we will sort ourselves out because we know ourselves.
Well, that means it establishes the fact that restructuring the country as a whole is indispensable at this time.
It is indispensable. It is indispensable. Very indispensable.
So
Southwest alone is generating an IGR that is more than the IGR generated by 5 other zones combined. We have 6 zones in Nigeria upon which our resources are being distributed. Education is being distributed. Everything is being distributed. And Southwest, just a single zone here, we generate about 814 billion naira in year 2016. Out of we generated about 414 billion naira out of 800 billion generated in the whole of Nigeria. That means Southwest alone generated IGR that is more than what the 5 other zones generated combined.
Wow.
Yeah,
So it's lopsided. It's lopsided. It's lopsided. Southeast only have 5 states. Yes. And the representative in the House of Rep they have is just 43. Yes. Northwest that does not have much that is contributing to the national cause is having 92 because of population. They just have admirers and populating Nigeria anyhow, and they have nothing to contribute, and yet they have more representation in the House of Assembly. We have 360. They have 92 representatives ahead of Southwest that just has 71. Yes. And Southeast only have 43. And you say we are equal. We are not.
Of course, security is a responsibility of all of us, like our honorable guest has pointed out. You need to, stay out there and then watch out for what happens around you. And of course, there's also a point that I'd like to note. You see a lot of people, vandals, most especially, vandalizing public utilities. It is a crime, it's punishable by law. And who are the persons who are supposed to hold these people responsible? Sometimes we expect the police, sometimes we expect, security forces, but it begins with you and me. So when you see someone, we report them to appropriate authorities and all of that. Now, because of our time, I would love to have Honorable again on this same show to probably explore this topic more and more. Do you think that's available at our beck and concert?
I'm Temitope Adisa and my colleague with me here.
Olugbenga George, and you're watching Rebuilding the Nation
On Topadis TV. If you have really watched this, make sure you don't leave without pressing the click like and also leave your comment. Thanks for watching.
See you next.
Mm-hmm.